NFL Week 6 power rankings. Let's just dig right in. I have 11. I'm going to give you my top 11, but before I do, I always talk about the screen of respect. Look, I have a number of teams on here. In some configuration, these teams have all played each other. They're all basically 3-2 or 4-1. At this point, I want to put all these teams on the list, but I have too many questions. And if I put one, then there's a very strong argument to put the other. So quickly, the 6 teams, what is going to make me elevate these teams into the top? Indianapolis Colts, basically, look, I know the defense. I know they're missing Leonard. This defense is strong. They might be the best in the league. But the offense, man, Phillip Rivers, I thought he was going to have a little bit more of an impact than he has had. They're not using really Naheem Hines at all to kind of push some easier first down conversions. Jonathan Taylor, I think he's fantastic. I think their receiving core, because of the injuries, they're hurting. I don't know what's going on at tight end. Basically, they have some questions on the offensive side of the ball. They need to answer them to get into the top. The Chicago Bears, I like them. Nick Foles, look, he's played the Indianapolis Colts and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 2 very good defenses in his first couple of starts. I want to see Nick Foles break through. I want to see him get that 3-touchdown game. They play the Carolina Panthers this week. I think that's going to be a big game for them. Speaking of the Panthers, they're on this list. Look, they're a lot better than I thought they'd be, but Bridgewater isn't exactly wowing me. I will say this, the Carolina Panthers defense is better than I thought they'd be. They still have some holes to figure out there. Offensively, where's DJ Moore? He's completely disappeared. Maybe when Christian McCaffrey comes back off the IR, they'll be a little bit better. But Carolina has some questions for me, so I'm keeping them off right now. But look, the winner of that Chicago versus Carolina game, they will be elevated. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady, probably if he had remembered that there were only 4 downs, it's kind of an unfortunate, slightly embarrassing situation there. They could have beaten the Chicago Bears. Honestly, I probably would have ranked Tampa Bay in my top 10 this week, but they lost to the Bears, and so I can't throw the Bucs on this list without throwing the Bears on this list. It doesn't make any sense. Same kind of principle with the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints have beaten the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're 3-2 in spite of not having Michael Thomas since week 1 of the NFL season. But this offense is just kind of sputtering. The defense doesn't step up in every game. They're winning games against teams kind of a little bit too close. They've fallen down massively to the Chargers and to the Detroit Lions in recent weeks. They need to play better. I want to see 4 quarters of football from New Orleans, not just a second half wake up. And the Arizona Cardinals, I think they're very good. But again, you're talking about other teams in comparison. How do I put the Cardinals on this list and not the Carolina Panthers? I couldn't do that. Kyler Murray is playing very well. I think they're going to have a nice week this week for sure. And then I think that this defense is playing a lot better than they were last season as well. So the Arizona Cardinals are definitely on my radar. They just didn't crack the list. Let's give it one more week, and these teams can fight their way back in there. But I didn't want to talk about the top 17 teams this week. I wanted to talk about as close to the top 10 as I could get. So with no further ado, let's talk about the top 10 NFL teams for Week 6. Starting with number 11. It's top 10 teams, starting with 11. That's how it goes. That's how this show goes, I guess. It's got 11 teams of Week 6, starting with number 11, the Las Vegas Raiders. I like this team. I'm a believer in this team. I think the only reason they're 3-2 is because they were banged up. They were severely banged up for a couple of weeks. They come out, they go toe-to-toe with Kansas City. Kansas City, I don't think played their best game, but credit the Raiders. And look, when the Raiders have a lead in the fourth quarter, they're tough to beat, man. Jacobs is for real. He runs people over. They bleed out the clock. I like the Raiders. I predicted them to be in the playoffs before the season. I still think they're going to be a playoff team. They're very impressive. Number 10, the New England Patriots, who we didn't see last week. They're 2-2. They have the worst record of this team. But look, their losses are to Seattle and who else? The Patriots on really a controversial kind of couple of calls there at the end of the game. So New England Patriots, I think they're a Super Bowl threat. They didn't have Cam Newton. They still almost beat Kansas City. I think the Patriots coming back. They'll handle they'll handle Denver this week, and we'll see what happens. But the New England Patriots defense is strong. They can pass the ball with Cam Newton. They can run the ball with Cam Newton. They can run the ball with whoever else, whether it's Harris, whether it's Sony Michel, whether it's James White, whether it's Rex Burkhead. They have talent everywhere. They're a team that can be a Super Bowl threat, and if you're a bettor, get in on them if your future's better, because their line is ridiculously high valued for the bettor. So check them out. Number 9, Cleveland Browns. Hey, you got to give credit where credit is due. I thought the Indianapolis defense would do exactly what they did to the Cleveland Browns, and I wanted to see, is Baker Mayfield going to be able to get it done? Well, he did, and there is still room for improvement. Plus, the Cleveland Browns defense is strong. I like the Browns. I like the brand of football they're playing, and they play Pittsburgh this week. It's going to be a massive showdown. There are 3 AFC North teams in my top 11 here this week. Cleveland Browns is the first mention, 4-1. Obviously, if they can knock out the Pittsburgh Steelers and hand the Steelers their first loss of the season, then they will improve on that. Number 8, the Los Angeles Rams. Their one loss was to the Bills at the very end of the game. They're running the ball. That's the key difference between 2020 and 2019. And also their defense is really actually playing very impressive. I had some questions after they had let Wade Phillips go and they replaced him with kind of like an unproven defensive coach there, but they're playing great football. They're playing strong against pretty decent competition so far. I like the Rams. They have wins against the Cowboys, which doesn't seem that impressive, but at the rate the Cowboys score, that has been good. They have a win against the Buffalo Bills, who I think are very good. So congratulations to the loss to the Buffalo Bills, but a very close one. Could have been a win. The Rams are a legit Super Bowl threat. The Super Bowl hangover from 2019 is long behind them. Jared Goff with a run game is very dangerous, and the Rams, man, they're going to be a factor. Number 7, the Buffalo Bills, who did hand the Rams that loss. They dropped to number 7. I was all set to put them as number 2 in my power rankings, but they lost to the Tennessee Titans, and they lost handedly. Titans had a good game plan. The Bills, they were missing John Brown. They don't... the thing about the Bills, and I like Daboll quite a bit as a play caller, but the thing about the Bills is that they never seem to integrate the run game early. It's kind of an afterthought. I think they need to run the ball a little bit more with Devin Singletary, throw a little bit more screen passes, take some of those gimme receptions instead of always pushing the ball downfield. It's nice to be able to push the ball downfield, and I really respect that, but don't do it all the time. I think the Bills could have been a lot better served to play a little bit more ball control. Number 6, the Tennessee Titans vault up the list, 4-0, limited practice week. They beat the Buffalo Bills, who I respect quite a bit. Undefeated, man. And when was the last time they lost in the regular season? Prior to last week, they were the first team, or they were the last team to beat Kansas City. Prior to the Raiders beating Kansas City. Tennessee Titans, Ryan Tannehill, the ball control. They're basically, I think, a year ahead of where I think the Raiders are, who I like quite a bit. They're a team that's built for the playoffs. They went to the AFC Championship last year. It was not a fluke. They're a team built for the playoffs. I like them. Number 5 on my list, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Unfortunately, thanks to the COVID stuff, we didn't get to see the Steelers versus the Titans, but we'll get that later in the season, which will be a lot of fun to watch, I'm sure. The Steelers, first time since 1979, everybody, 41 years since they started the season 4-0, which is just ridiculous. But here's the deal with the Steelers. Their defense isn't even playing up to their expectations. This team can get a lot better, and they're scoring points. They're an impressive team, everybody. They're going to be tough to beat, and they might even vault the number 4 team on my list here, the Baltimore Ravens, who are at 4-1. Baltimore's only lost to Kansas City. Here's my deal. I've been saying it, like Lamar Jackson. You're very impressive. You can run the ball. He might be the best quarterback to throw into traffic in the NFL. And it sounds like a backhanded compliment, but I'm telling you, watch a lot of Ravens. The dude is always throwing across his body over the middle, and he's always completing passes. I've never seen anything like it. Every time he lets go of a ball, I'm thinking, oh boy, that's going to be a pick to the house. And it never happens. He runs. He can run the ball. The whole Ravens running game with Ingram and Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, who we haven't really even seen featured yet, is strong. The big question is Baltimore, if they are down early, can Lamar Jackson be a strong enough downfield quarterback to, say, close a 14-point gap in the fourth quarter? At this point, he hasn't showed that in his career. That's just being honest. So when the Ravens are playing from ahead, there's nobody better in the league at playing that kind of football. When they're playing from behind, they have some serious questions, or I have some serious questions about them. Number 3 on the list. Look, enough is enough, Kansas City. I want to see you take the regular season seriously. They were 6-4 last season before they kicked it into the gear. This year, look, they're 4-1, so it's not like the sky is falling, but they're not playing strong. I mean, Kansas City Chiefs fans, you know this. They're not playing as good as they can. The defense isn't playing as strong as they can. The offense isn't playing as strong as they can. It's just kind of like they're just getting through the regular season, trying to stay healthy, and then they expect to turn it on to the playoffs, which is a fine strategy, but for regular season power rankings, when teams are outplaying them at the moment, I'm sorry, I can't just give you the benefit of the doubt anymore. Reigning Super Bowl champions, you show up for the good games. I'm sure they'll show up against Buffalo this week, coming off a loss, playing a really good team. We'll see what happens there. I tend to think the Chiefs will rebound, but I'm sick of them coming out flat against AFC West competition. Don't only get up for the games that are interesting games. Get up for every game. But we'll see. Kansas City, come on. Are you serious? Like, when they get to the playoffs, is anybody picking against them? I won't be. Number 2 on my list, Green Bay Packers. They're playing sharp football. They can run the ball. They can pass the ball. Their defense is strong. There really isn't a weakness. Now, I would have said that what would happen when Devontae Adams goes out, like he's the only guy that Aaron Rodgers throws to. Well, what happens is he finds other guys to throw to. The offense, Matt LaFleur, the second year of his system, has really advanced and taken things forward. I'm impressed by everything the Packers have done. And again, a team that can run the ball and throw the ball and not turn the ball over. Those are very, very hard teams to beat. Especially when the playoffs come around. And this is a team that is used to the cold weather. They're not going to be bad in cold weather. I mean, they play in Green Bay, for crying out loud. They're going to be tough to beat, everybody. And the number one team on my list, the Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson, you plug him in on any other team, they either instantly get better or at least stay the same. I think he's probably my 2020 quarter pole MVP, along with Aaron Rodgers. You can make the argument for. You could also make the argument for Josh Allen, but really for me, it's one guy. It's Russell Wilson. He is just playing incredible football. That comeback victory against Minnesota was impressive. Now, the defense has to get better, but here's the thing with Seattle's defense is they've had injuries. They've been banged up. They will continue to gel, just as I'm sure the Kansas City Chiefs will continue to gel. The Pittsburgh Steelers will continue to gel. The Tennessee Titans defense will continue to gel. The Buffalo Bills will continue. Everybody in this really, I would say top 11 is very strong. Out of these top 11 teams, I'd say 8 have a real shot at winning the Super Bowl. And then even some teams outside of this top 11, like the Saints, like the Bucks, they're teams that are really built to make a deep playoff run. So a lot of depth at the top of the league. There's a lot of garbage at the bottom as well. It's going to be interesting. This is a top feeder, top of the food chain type season for the NFL. We've seen a lot of parity in recent seasons. This season's a little bit different. So there you go. There's my 2020 NFL season Week 6 power rankings.